What is going on, guys? Ultimate Deadpool here. Finally back with a new video. I know I was supposed to do my California video. I am still working on that, so please give me some time. Hopefully I will have that video done for you guys soon. It's been a hellacious few weeks since I got back from California. So hopefully this makes up for everything. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about today, so without further ado, let's just jump right into things. Okay, so as you guys know, before we get started with any new props video just like this, we got to go through the old stuff first and update you guys on what's been happening lately. So, as you guys know, I'm trying to turn this into a modern version of this, and this is the result so far. Now, this is a test run. This is not the official one that I'm going to be using, but so far for a trial run, it's not too bad. The only thing that didn't work so far is the shoulder pieces, which allow the mechanism that flips the cannons upward and downward. I have a way to hopefully fix this, so hopefully the next time I attempt this, it will be foolproof, and this time it will hopefully work. This time we did attempt it. We really did. You can see the hot glue and stuff all up in there. Which is actually hidden really well with the paint now that I think about it. But I had an extra one of these, and I can't find the other one right now, but we took the pieces out from the back, and that should hopefully fit relatively decently right there. Otherwise, we'll use a Dremel tool and cut out the notches on the back, slide this in, slide the stick peg through it, and it should, oh, here's the other one, and that should hopefully make these pieces function just like they did back in 2007. So you should they hopefully should still be able to pivot just like this on a modern day Iron Man Mark II action figure, because these two things are the same. These are the exact same thing. This was the original. This is the one that I got while I was on vacation. It's literally the exact same mold, the exact same Iron Man Mark II. The only difference is obviously this one's painted. So all in all, not too bad for a test run. I'm definitely going to keep doing this until I get it right. This is something I feel like I really should do, especially to this particular suit, because the torpedo suit was my favorite of the concept series back in 2008 when the first Iron Man movie was coming out. It was my personal favorite action figure when I had as a kid. So, yeah, this is something I'm definitely not going to give up on anytime soon. So, let me know what you guys think of this so far. This is just a test. This is what it started off looking like. This is what it's supposed to look like by the time it's all said and done. But, hopefully, we've got something that'll make it work. So, without further ado, let's keep going on with today's video. Okay, so as you guys know, I like making characters and stuff light up lately. We made Darth Vader have a light up, or actual working lightsaber. Well, not actual working, but it's a light up lightsaber, which looks really good at night, and really cool in a dark area. So, and then obviously we've got Killshot, Oswald, and Metalhead. Now, Killshot is not going to change, although I am going to make a second version of Killshot that has an interchangeable arm, so that way he can have two hands. I've heard a lot of people complain that he should have two hands, so I will go ahead and try to fix that. If it doesn't work, then he'll just be stuck with one cannon hand and one real hand, but his eye, on the other hand, is not going to change. So, with that being said, Killshot staying the way he is. Metalhead, on the other hand, is going to get another upgrade. I'm going to completely redo this. I hate the way his shell is ginormous because of the freaking 9-volt battery that's in his back. Before I discovered I could use coin magnets or coin LED or batteries to make the eyes and stuff work, I decided it was a great idea to use a 9-volt battery, and on the side, the lights don't look bad. Staring directly at the camera, the lights give off too much of a flare, and I don't like that. Plus, the shell is just super duper big and super heavy. I cannot tell you guys how many times this dude has fallen apart. So it's just easier to start off with something better. And since I've already done it 3 times now, it shouldn't be that hard to do. So, and obviously I will show you guys how to do it if you are interested in making a Turtle Experiment character of your own that has LED eyes. It's super easy. It's just extremely time consuming, and it takes a lot of patience. So, but otherwise it's extremely easy. Anybody can do it with tools. So if you have access to power tools and you are safe with power tools, then I will show you guys how to do it. Otherwise, don't attempt it without an adult supervision. So, let's move on. Oh, so yeah, we're still on the same subject. So, Metalhead is going to get a new figure again. This is going to go on a shelf as permanent display, and then I can just change the battery whenever I feel like it. So this was definitely a test because this was the prototype. I had never worked with coin batteries before, so I didn't know I could do it like that. But now that I know how to do it that way, I don't have to do this ever again. So it's going to be so much easier this way. So for now, we'll go ahead and turn that off. Turn that off. So the reason Oswald is still over here, and the reason why his eyes are not glowing, is because I hated how I did Oswald before I left for my vacation. And I kept thinking, how could I fix it? How could I make it better? And every way I came up with, it was just getting worse and worse and worse. Because blue LEDs are a lot brighter than red LEDs, because blue is a much more vibrant color. It's a much brighter color. So naturally the LED is going to be a lot brighter than it would be with a red LED. So I ordered a pair, like 10 pieces or whatever, of blue like micro LEDs. And if I were to take the top of his head off, I'm not doing it right now because it's like literally hot glued welded onto the head. But just behind the bandana are blue micro LEDs. And then they are filled in with hot glue to diffuse it. And when you turn the switch on, they're still bright and they still show up bright on camera, but his actual pupils are where the LEDs show on camera. So where the little blue iris looking thing, like right here and here, that's where his eyes are technically supposed to be, and the rest of his eye is just a natural glow, which is exactly what Oswald is supposed to have. He's a mystic turtle. Or a mystical character. His eyes are going to be glowing blue. And I kept trying and figuring out and trying to make this work and whatnot. And I'm happier with this layout. So I'm happier with this setup. This is so much better than it was the first time. The first time, everything over here was a glare. It still has a little bit of a glare to it, but it's not near as bad as it was the first time. And that's just because you're shining an LED right at a camera. So anything that's on a camera, plus my lenses, or camera lens, isn't exactly clean. But, if I were to wipe this off or whatever, it'd probably be better. But all in all, I'm happier with this version, with this eye setup. Like I said, I'll do a video showing you guys how to do that. If you guys want to do something like this, it's extremely easy. Anybody can do it. You just have to take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. So, anyway, that's Oswald. Now that all the Cyber Turtles are technically, or I guess you could say, Turtle Experiment characters are basically lit up and ready to go. I cannot wait to start using them for the Connected Universe, but I'm going to build them up the right way, so that way each of them gets their own origin story, or origin story build up, so that way people know who they are, what they can do, and how dangerous or how friendly they can be. So, let's move on. I spent way too much time on these guys. One more thing before we get into the new stuff. I did finally find my Arkham City Joker, or Arkham Joker that I've had for quite a while now. I know he hasn't really appeared in any videos, but I'm happy to say if you guys want this version of the Joker to be the main version of the Joker in the Ultimate Deadpool Connected Universe, he is roughly the same size as a 6-inch Marvel Legends figure. So, I mean, he's slightly taller, but not by much. which this is a McFarlane Multiverse figure, and those are usually in 7-inch scale, but for some reason this version of the Joker is not. He's about 6 inches, just like Iron Man. Iron Man is kind of like the definitive scaling test, along with Wolverine. So seeing as how Joker is ever so slightly taller than everybody else, it's not that off-putting like Superman. Superman was a lot taller than the Joker, so that's why I had to, scrap the idea of using that particular Superman for the connected universe. But this version of the Joker I could definitely use in future videos with the connected universe, and it would all still be to scale. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know down in the comments below, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. Okay, now that we're finally getting into the new stuff, I know the 4 characters behind this guy are not new, and neither is the guy that's right in front, dead center right now. But for those of you who might not know, Slash the Evil Turtle from Dimension X is by far one of my favorite versions of the Ninja Turtle character, or one of my favorite Ninja Turtle characters, because of how cool he looks. I'm talking about these guys, not these two. But we'll get into that in a minute. So, I saw this at my local Target, and like, you know what? It's Slash related, and it's apparently supposed to glow in the dark, or glow in the dark. Now I did look up this brand after the fact, and apparently this brand for stuff sucks. For starters, they don't have holes for the feet. So, and they can't really stand up on them by themselves. And the joints and stuff apparently are not that great. And yeah, the overall thing is extremely cheap, for lack of a better term, which explains why it was so cheap at Target. And obviously his backpack strap is a laughable joke. I can literally fit my entire thumb in there, and it still falls off. So, if this guy does show up in any videos, he's not going to be using this backpack piece, because it is just cartoonishly big, and it doesn't work at all, and it's supposed to be a snug fit. But let's go ahead and try to get into some of the positives with this. Now, his gun. He does come with 2 of them. He's got one that's like this, and then one that's a little bit similar to this one. Except it's a 2-hand thing, kind of like where you'd, mount it on a post and just go boom, 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 and then boom, there you go, Bob's your uncle. So that's not too bad. The joint for the head is very stiff. Ow. These are actually sharp. So are his back spikes. His knee pads are also sharp. His toenails are sharp. His thumb is not that sharp. But any spikes on this dude are relatively sharp, which is shocking. The paint that was used for the shoulder pieces, or all the silver pieces, isn't too bad. The mold for the gun looks pretty good. The mold for the other one isn't that bad either. It's really just the joints and just the cheap quality plastic that they used for this. So let's go ahead and find out if he does in fact glow in the dark. Okay, so it does technically glow in the dark. Not very well though. But as you can see, it clearly does sort of glow in the dark. Now, I didn't hold it on for 3 hours or anything like that, or let it sit out in the sun. I just used a very, very powerful flashlight to make it work. But hey, it does actually glow in the dark. So I may play on that if I do use this guy for any videos. So, although the glowing doesn't really last all that long, but you know what? That's okay. Okay, so yeah, it does glow in the dark. Not very well, but it does. So I will probably use this guy for like a solid maybe 1 clip or something in the connected universe, and then he's just going to evolve or have something else happen to him to where he becomes a better version of himself. Because I got 5 guys to choose from now. I got this guy and the 4 behind him. They're all the same character, so you know what? Pick and choose, okay? So, but I mean, all in all, for display purposes, it's not so bad. But if it's a kid, if you know, like some parent or whatever that were to get this for their child and have it be a playable toy, it's like, oh yeah, Timmy, it's gonna be able to glow in the dark and blah 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 blah. And the kid tries it and it doesn't glow all for like 5 seconds. It's like, yeah, no, mom, you suck. So it's like, yeah, no, this is not meant to be played with. This is meant to be put on a shelf and never really touched. Which is exactly what I'll probably end up doing with it anyway. Add to my laundry list of Slash characters. All of these guys are the same. So, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not good either. This is just a okay version of Slash. So, let's move on. Alright, finally, something new. Or something actually new. So, some of you guys might not know this. I like Star Wars, for starters. And one of my favorite characters in Star Wars is General Grievous. I was so pissed at how they treated him in the frickin' Revenge of the Sith, but because especially considering how badass he was in the animated Clone Wars show, not the CGI one, the actual good one that was 2D animated. The 2D animated one was hands down miles better than the 3D animated one. I really did try to watch that one. I went through all 7 seasons of it, and it just wasn't for me. Although General Grievous was a badass in that show most of the time. So, let's go ahead. So, I went to my local GameStop, and I was literally just going up there just to look, just to see if they even had anything appealing. Didn't really think I was going to do much of anything. I just simply wanted to see what they had. And since I was a big fan of General Grievous, I saw this. I'm like, okay. I've never played Battlefront 2 or anything like that, or whatever this version of General Grievous is from. But it's like, okay, because let me put it this way. I'm a casual Star Wars fan. Like, I like the movies. I like a handful of the shows. But it's like, I'm not a big fan of, like, the comic books, or I don't really read the comic books. I don't really read the extended stuff. I don't really watch the extended stuff. I mostly just watched The Mandalorian and Kenobi. That was about it. Everything else I've ignored. I ignored the Book of Boba Fett. I ignored, Han, a Star Wars story, or Solo, a Star Wars story. I've ignored Acolyte and all the other crap, just because it's just such a toxic fan base anymore. It's just not fun to be a Star Wars fan. And I don't like being in the middle of all that. So I just decided to kind of seclude myself with it. So, on a very technicality level, I am a Star Wars fan, but more or less just for the first 6 movies and Kenobi and The Mandalorian. After that, everything else is just kind of meh. The only other thing I would say I really like about Star Wars was the Force Unleashed video games. Other than that, Star Wars is just fun for me. So, with that being said, I don't know what this version of General Grievous is from, but I will never forget this as long as I live. As I was getting ready to check out with General Grievous, I asked the guy if I just took it up to the counter. He said, I hope so, because otherwise you're going to make a grievous error or something like that. I'm like, you son of a bitch. I was so mad. But I was trying so hard not to laugh at the same time. So that was fun. But getting down to the actual figure. Now, I do wish this was a cleaner version of General Grievous, at least on his head. General Grievous's head is probably one of the most unique parts of his body, with the exception of him being completely unique because he's a giant spider-like robot. Or cyborg, I should say. I'm sorry. He's not bad. The joints and stuff are about as flimsy as you'd expect for something this thin. When I went to go try to drill a hole for his foot so that way I could put him on one of these stands, I did actually break the foot off, but no harm done. It was just a simple clip that just popped off, and it was a very easy fix. So no harm, no foul. And I already know there's going to be a bunch of comments in the comment section. Can you put General Grievous fighting this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy? Well, hold your horses. General Grievous will probably show up in at least 1 or 2 death battles, but I mainly got this character just to display him because he is General Grievous and he is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. So mostly he was purchased for display purposes, but I may still go ahead and use him for a handful of videos. He will not appear in the connected universe. No Star Wars connected or no Star Wars character is going to appear in the connected universe because it does not make sense. It does not make sense for, you know, people from galaxies and galaxies and galaxies away to show up on Earth of all places and have something go down there. So maybe someday when if the connected universe becomes as big as the MCU, then sure, maybe I'll go ahead and add Star Wars. But till then, Star Wars is going to stay out of it. I'm not saying there's not going to be any Star Wars references. So, you know, like somebody could, you know, walk around in a Darth Vader costume or whatever and be like, the Force is strong with this one. And be kind of nerdy like that. But in terms of actually having Star Wars characters interact with, you know, Darth Vader himself, you know, in the presence of Iron Man or the Hulk or, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog or anybody like that, is not going to happen. Not for several years, if at all. So, with all that being said, I do like this version of General Grievous. I know I'm taking forever to break down this damn figure. So the arms are really well posable. The joints up here for the bendable portions are a little bit stiff, and I'm afraid I'm going to break them. That's why they're all 4 split apart right now. But they do come back together, which is a really fun feature. So you can have them with 2 hands or 1. The detail on this thing is freaking unbelievable. I was really impressed with how much detail they got into this thing. One of the chest plates was bent. I was able to fix it just a little bit. Not too much. Like I said, the face design and all the little blemishes and stuff on his paint, well, armor, I guess you could say, that all does really look good. The only part I wish it wasn't on was his face. Otherwise, the rest of it's not too bad. The lightsabers are held in his hands relatively well, except for this one. This one's a little bit on the, you know, somewhat iffy side, and that was one of the things I always hated about General Grievous action figures when I was growing up as a kid, is he could never really hold lightsabers because of how small his hands are. But these actually, they made the hilts bigger, and he actually can hold them relatively well. Before anybody says anything, yes, I will probably eventually try to give General Grievous 4 glowing lightsabers just like this at some point in the future, but probably not for a while. Because these things are not cheap. Well, they're not expensive either, but they're not cheap, and they take forever to ship. So, and they come into a giant battery pack that I would literally have to try to hide on a essentially naked character. So unless I gave General Grievous a cape, that would be the only way I would be able to hide them. And I'm pretty sure this version of General Grievous does not use a cape. So anyway, that's General Grievous. Now let's go on to the main thing that everybody's been probably begging me for. Okay, finally, out of all of those characters that was supposed to be done probably first, this is the one who was supposed to be done first. Okay, so this is obviously Jack-O-Lantern from Marvel Comics. For those of you who watched my California video, I picked this guy up in California. I went to a Walmart in California, and every time I go to a Walmart, I always look in their toy aisle or the collector aisle or whatever you want to call it. I always look around over there just to see if I can find something fun or just to see what that version of Walmart has. It does not matter, you know, where I go. If I go to Dallas, if I go to, you know, wherever, it's just, you know, I look around at that version of Walmart and see what they got. So I was up in California and I just said, you know what, let's look around and see what they got. And I actually found this, and I have been trying to find this guy forever. Now I'm gonna bear with you guys, and I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I don't know jack shit about Jack-O-Lantern. I know enough about him to know what he is. He's basically a mercenary that ends up becoming the Hobgoblin and then like getting killed from the original Hobgoblin. It's a confusing mess, and I know that about the Jack-o'-lantern. But the nice thing about Jack-o'-lantern is, if I remember correctly, he can basically be anybody. So I can actually have, when I use him in the Connected Universe, because he is going to be used in the Connected Universe at some point. Whether or not it be for the first Spider-Man villain or something along those lines. I want somebody who Spider-Man would easily be able to take down with just learning how to use his powers, which is basically what Jack-o'-lantern would be. At least from my knowledge of Jack-o'-lantern. Some of you guys may correct me in the comment section below. But from what I remember, there's like 6 or 7 different Jack-o'-lanterns, and each one of them is different. I know the original one, I think his name was Jack or something along, or it started with a J. I vaguely remember that. But after that guy became the Hobgoblin, and then a couple of other things happened, Jack-o'-lantern just became a different person. So it's not that hard to make him basically whoever I want, and still have it kind of fit in the Spider-Man stuff. So, with that being said, I don't know much about him. I do know that his flying saucer thing is just, I think it's just called the flying hoverboard, or the hover saucer board or something. I have it all written down on my phone somewhere, because I actually did watch a detailed video explaining mostly about what this guy does. So, let's go ahead and start breaking him down. So he does, whoops. So he does come with a detachable bomb that goes on his belt, just like that. That almost rolled off my desk. And he can obviously hold that relatively well in his hand. You can put him in all kinds of different poses, just like every classic Marvel Legends figure. You can have them, look really fun or look really cool. The only problem is there's a small dome piece that goes on the bottom here, and if you're going to display these things like I do, you can't have it stand up without or with that piece in. So that is why that piece is currently not on. It is so that way he can actually stand up and not fall over. Let's see. The mold work and the detail work on this, for being a very simple figure, for surprisingly, I love the fish gill looking things on his suit. Looks very reminiscent to the Green Goblin. His boots look very Goblin-esque. This is more like a Green Goblin clone, more than anything, if I remember it from the comic books, or at least from the bio video or whatever that I watched of the guy. This guy is basically just the Hobgoblin with like either better or worse technology, and then a flaming, like, bulletproof pumpkin mask that flames out and makes you look like this. So the flames, are awesome. The head mold is awesome. I do like the pumpkin shape, and the texture. At least the paint texture looks really good. The flames look really good. The paint for the pumpkin looks really good, because that's all a translucent mold. Oh wait, no, I see the split right here. Okay, never mind. They are 2 separate pieces. They didn't look like it for a second. Posability, I'm going to give probably about a 7 or 8. The upper torso is relatively strong, which is always a problem with Marvel Legend characters, at least for me. The legs, the legs joints are relatively strong. Overall, this is actually a really good Marvel Legends figure. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, the secondary shoulder movements are a little stiff because of the texture that they have, but that's to be expected because it's got that like fishy scale texture or whatnot. So it's a little bit on the stiffer side. The arm, shoulder joints or whatnot, they are a little bit stiffer because of it too. Not too much. Still cannot wait to use Jack-o'-lantern in a couple of videos, especially the Connected Universe. He is definitely going to be showing up somewhere in there, whether it be a main villain or a side villain for the first Spider-Man movie. I just want this guy to be used as basically a punching bag for Spider-Man, just so that way he has something or someone to test his powers on, mostly. Or like prove that the city of New York or whatever that he can in fact be a hero. So, yeah, not too bad, all things considered. This is definitely probably one of the better Marvel Legend figures I've reviewed and really or seen ever. Like I said, I've never really had a big praise for Marvel Legends action figures like most people do. Deadpool, for instance, is a huge benefit factor of that. His legs are beyond screwed up, and so is his upper chest area. So the Marvel Legend figures, to me, are just basically a joke. But this one's actually not bad. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I know it was a lot of stuff to go through, and I hope you guys are excited for this stuff as I am. I cannot wait to start doing the Connected Universe. So, like I said, let me know if you guys want Jack-O-Lantern to be a main villain or a side villain for a Spider-Man project. Let me know if you guys want this version of the Joker to show up or be the main Joker of the Connected Universe. And let me know if you guys want me to do a video showing you guys how to do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Playmates action figure LED light up eyes thing. Oh, one more thing before we go. I did pick up these adorable things at my local comic book store, Madness Games and Comics. So obviously these things are Funko Pops. I'm a big Ghostbusters nerd, oddly enough, if you couldn't tell by my truck. And these guys are so adorable. I'm probably going to be putting them on my dashboard. These are obviously the mini Stay Puffs from Afterlife. And if I can figure out how to make these actually look like he's pulling the wires out of my truck, I'm 100% going to do that. And then this guy lifting weights with marshmallows is just adorable. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a longer video than usual, but I hope it was worth it. Thank you guys again, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Bye.